morning and welcome to the news. As usual, the Wednesday package comes with local and global views, reviews, previews and interviews. We will trace Nigerian footprints in international trade and input in innovation. We will also join analysts in making projections in key sectors of the nation's economy. As it's customary, our third eye remains trained on Nigerians and their stories of resilience, courage and hope. Tonight, Nigeria seals deal after deal in Turkey. But what does this mean in numbers for sectors benefiting from these agreements?
I am Musbah Wahab from Ankara, still fresh from the 9 new agreements signed on President Tinubu's state visit to the Republic of Turkey. We shall be looking at the prospective benefits of these agreements and because of this bulletin. Stay with us.
Also, our regional outlook goes to the southeast, where the tale of two cities could not be more different.
From Aba, the commercial hub of West Africa. Tonight, we shall be examining key issues between traders and profits and their expectations in the year 2026. Join us.
This is the sprawling Onitsha main market. The market has been closed down for a period of 1 week by the Anambra State Governor, Professor Chukwuma Charles Soludo. The close down, according to the governor, is as a result of repeated defiance to a government directive to end the weekly Monday sit at home.
Brilliant. Also on infrastructural development, road networks remain a priority. Citizens urge quick action in some bad spots across the country. On security, Taraba Governor Kefas Agbu meets IGP Egbetukun on security issues in his state. Also tonight, Benny Adams will be given a rundown of the key deals in the Nigerian business sector and the top losers and gainers in the stock market. While Badia Deleye has a frantic evening ahead of him as the concluding night of the first stage of the UEFA Champions League unfolds. It's a loaded package. Well, don't take my word for it. After all, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. I'm Yenri John. This is News Extra. Welcome. Nigerian government is making commitments to the immediate implementation of its side of the agreement with the Turkish government to maximize benefits of the renewed partnership. Ministers on the Nigerian delegation in company of President Bola Tinubu on the state visit to Turkey made the commitment at the signing of the agreements. State House correspondent Musbah Wahab reports.
President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Purposeful steps towards a new height in the Nigerian-Turkish relations. President Tinubu and his chief host, President Erdogan, decided on a new chapter full of pages of promises. It was after a private meeting between the two leaders and then a parallel ministerial bilateral talks. Nigerian ministers of Interior, Women Affairs, Finance, Trade, Science and Tech, among others, engaged their Turkish counterparts. Months of engagements ended up in a historic signing of 9 agreements. Both countries now have new level of cooperations in the fields of diaspora policy, media and communication, higher education, quality infrastructure, declaration establishing economy and trade joint committee, agreements on defense cooperation, Foreign Affairs Academy, and cooperation on development of women and social welfare.
We've engaged extensively, so we've been able to come out with very concrete plans on how we can be able to strengthen our family agenda of Mr. President. As part of our Family First agenda, we're trying to strengthen our social workforce. We're trying to emplace a strong social cohesion strategy that will protect not just the family unit, but in turn strengthening our communities and also provide social and economic opportunities for our women, the vulnerable, the elderly.
With similar experiences in the fight against terrorism, Nigeria and Turkey have decided to act immediately on their defense cooperation.
We want to see those low-hanging fruits that we'll be able to take up as quickly as possible. Both presidents have agreed that it is important that we hasten what we're doing together and make it work. And so we, on our own part, we're taking up from there. The signing of the agreements has made it very, very clear that time shouldn't be wasted. We need to move on, and that's what we want to do.
The issues we're now looking at is security, right? Coming here has also been an eye-opener. Turkey is a country that produces its defense articles. So we're trying to ensure that they also partner with DICON so that they hold DICON in strong partnership so that DICON can also start producing locally. And of course, we have some challenges within the border space. So we believe that with the agreement today, a lot will be done in that regard. And also, we also spoke about the issue of visa, ease of visa between our two countries.
And from now, the two countries are ultimately targeting a $5 billion trade volume between them.
Real commitment was made to putting in place the framework, the agreements, investment promotion and protection, double taxation treaty, as well as a JETCO, a joint economic trade committee that will work specifically to build up trade.
And Turkey has a lot of mining engineering expertise, a lot of procurement expertise, a lot of construction engineering expertise. And so we want to leverage on all of this with Turkey to come in, make investments in the solid mineral sector of Nigeria, and of course we're looking towards local value addition, which is core and is central to our own policy in Nigeria on solid minerals.
President Bola Tinubu and his Turkish counterparts commit to working the journey together towards a safer world and more prosperity for their peoples. From Ankara, Musbal Nanwahab, NTA News.
Let's now join Musbal Danwahab in Turkey for more updates on developments there. Musbal.
Thank you, Ire. The drive continues right here in Ankara, the capital of Republic of Turkey, as led by President Bola Tinubu himself. Some other ministers on ground continue with the engagement with relevant ministries, departments and agencies of the Turkish government just to maximize the benefit of this agreement. And we have with us the Minister of State Industry, Senator John Eno, to tell us the latest from what happened today. Thank you very much, Senator, for joining us.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much.
Today we had the business forum between Nigeria and the Turkish business people. Can you tell us a bit of what transpired at that event?
Well, you know that, it's the hallmark of any presidential visit, like the state visit, is normally the amount, of investments, the amount of trading that is able to attract, for country. So to cap the state visit, today, the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, under the auspices of the Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission, as well as the Nigeria-Turkish, business roundtable, organized a business roundtable that had, in attendance, lots and lots of, the Turkish businessmen and women. It also had in attendance some Nigerian companies as well.
What are the major outcomes from that event?
Well, I think that, at yesterday's high-level meeting, the commitment and the aspiration is that Nigeria, Turkish, trade volume should grow to, up to $5 billion from the present about $2.2 billion. And I think that, the outcome of today's business roundtable is that commitment by various companies, to come to Nigeria, to come to invest, to come to set up factories, to come to set up companies, and to see how they can drive trade and growth, in accordance to this aspiration.
From 2 billion, aiming at $5 billion US. That's, for me, very ambitious. And again, the two presidents showed their interest regarding this, and part of the agreement is setting up of a committee, joint committee on economy and trade. Tell us how that will facilitate these targets.
I mean, exactly. One of the MOUs that was signed yesterday was the MOU on, joint, between, the economic and trade committee, between the two countries, So it's, and that MOU basically is to enable, this target. I mean, as far back as 1996, Nigeria had a trade, agreement, with Turkey, So what happened yesterday is to add, the component of economic cooperation, So when you have, the two countries have realized the fact that from 1990s to today there are missing gaps, and these gaps need to be closed in. That's why the economic and trade, committee was set up. And the contents of this have to do with the fact that the two countries have to continue to engage and to explore possibilities of seeing how they can better benefit from this cooperation and this collaboration and this partnership, economically and trade-wise.
Now, Honorable Minister, when exactly do you think Nigerians should start expecting the benefit of this renewed partnership? Because we've seen a lot of such MOUs signed. What should Nigerians expect?
Well, I think that the benefits and the results are just about like immediate. I mean, we already have, Turkish companies in Nigeria. I mean, there's a particular company that has invested about $300 million and counting. And I think that they played a very great role because as of yesterday, some few bottlenecks, and missing points and all that were pointed out. And I think that an engagement of this nature clears the way for more investment to come. For example, there is the non-agreement in terms of the, common protection of mutual investments by the two countries. There's also the issue of, double taxation that has been raised. As both of these and more gets cleared up, that is how the window and the gateway is going to be open for these immediate investments to begin to flow in.
Well, Minister, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Right. Minister of State, Industry, Senator John Eno. And that is it for now. President Bola Tinubu and his host counterpart, that's President Erdogan, have said they are ready to start this journey immediately. And I think the peoples of these two countries should only be expecting what comes next. Back to you.
Well, thanks, Musbao, for the update. Let's move away from Turkey now and look at developments back home, as Nigeria has the potential to be one of the greatest countries on earth if its citizens learn to tolerate and live in peace with one another. Vice President Shatima stated this in Jos when he paid homage to the Gwangwam Jos, Jacob Gyang Buba, in his palace. The Vice President said Nigerians are one people tied to a common heritage, and what binds them together as a people supersedes whatever threatens to separate them, noting that traditional rulers are a special group of respected leaders because they uphold the society.
There can never be peace without development. The interests of Plateau supersedes all our individual interests. I want to commend and thank the leadership, the political leadership in Plateau State for their generosity of spirit. I want to thank the national chairman. So I want to thank you, sir, publicly and commend you. You have shown leadership, you have shown sacrifice. Now your duty is to bring development to Plateau in partnership with the governor.
What is happening on the plateau now to truly bring us together, that we may be realigned to one another and walk in the interests of one another. We have our children, and what we should ask ourselves, what are we bequeathing to them? If our forefathers didn't bequeath this unity to us, we wouldn't have been a country called Nigeria. And so we must look at the interests of Nigeria and work towards achieving that unity.
We want you to know that we are quite delighted to have you, and also to know that you are here with the good wishes of Mr. President, in whom we are well pleased, and we are pleased with your working relationship.
Vice President Kashim Shettima expressed confidence in the political realignment in the state, saying it will also boost the state's image as well as ensure sustenance of peace across the state and nationwide. Now, the federal government has launched Learning Fund, an empowerment platform targeted at unlocking the potential of Nigerian children, women and youths. Vice President Kashim Shettima, represented at the event, said the initiative is part of outcomes of the Africa Social Impact Summit 2026 high-level policy engagement. The high-level engagement with the theme, Scaling Action, Driving Inclusive Growth Through Policy and Innovation, as a premier platform for accelerating progress on sustainable development goals through innovation, financing and partnerships.
Our social innovators, to civil society, and most importantly to the young people and women across Nigeria and across Africa. Progress demands coalition. We have come to a shared realization that development is not done by people. It is built with them.
Africa is already grappling with the dire consequences of the climate crisis. The Mission 300 initiative, aimed at connecting 300 million people to affordable, reliable and clean electricity, exemplifies how climate action can align with sustainable development.
Our demographics, markets, innovation capacity, and entrepreneurial journey positions us not just for growth, but for transformation. Yet that future will not emerge organically. It must be intentionally built.
The Women and Youth Financial and Economic Inclusion Nigeria, the country's flagship platform for advancing women and youth economic empowerment through compact-based delivery, co-investment frameworks and performance accountability, was also launched. We head to the National Assembly now as Senate has scheduled Thursday, January 29th, 2026 for the clause-by-clause consideration of the Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2026. This decision was reached at plenary after copies were distributed to lawmakers to enable them study and the proposals and make valid observations before passage. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali brings us all the details.
The Electoral Act Amendments Bill 2026 provides comprehensive highlights to address gaps and improve the process with accountability. Proposed provisions include sanctions for election offences, guidelines for primaries and election proper, funding for political parties, and the election umpire, among others.
We also hold a brief closed-door session for us to debate critical clauses of this bill so that we can come and consider and take our positions in plenary.
This is a very important bill, considering the fact that we are about to go into elections. So if we rush it, we regret at the tribunal. If we get it right, and the bill will save the interests of Nigerians and ensure free and transparent elections.
Meanwhile, President of the Senate has directed distribution to lawmakers the certified true copies of the Tax Reform Act duly signed by the President to clear the air over alleged changes. In another development, Senator Abdul Ningi raised a point of order on the strikes conducted by the U.S. military in Nigeria.
The President of the Senate and indeed the National Assembly leadership must take a brief from the security agencies as to what happened and why this matter happened.
Because it's a matter of security, we really should not discuss it in the open. We should have a closed session so that you'll be well briefed.
The reconstituted Senate Committee on National Security and Intelligence has been inaugurated. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the House of Representatives is set to debate the 2026 budget on Thursday, a crucial legislative step in Nigeria's fiscal planning process. National Assembly correspondent Mitari Ikpen reports that the House has also received 24 health sector bills and 2 other proposals on judicial reforms, all transmitted by President Bola Tinubu for legislative approvals.
The 24 health sector bills transmitted by President Bola Tinubu are seeking to streamline over-bloated governing boards of several national health institutions for efficient service delivery. The President also requested expeditious consideration of the Federal High Court Amendment Bill 2025 by the House to increase the number of justices to 90. As well as the Court of Appeal Amendment Bill 2026, proposing 110 justices for the appellate court.
The proposed increase of the Federal High Court justices from 70 to 90 will significantly enhance the speed and quality of adjudication.
A motion to debate the 2026 appropriation bill of 58.47 trillion naira was moved by the majority leader, Julius Ihonwere. Lawmakers are expected to scrutinize the money bill and propose amendments to ensure that the budget aligns with national priorities, fiscal discipline, economic growth, and poverty reduction.
Go and study the budget, and then by tomorrow we'll look at it so that you can present your debate.
Lawmakers expressed concern over renewed bandit attacks on communities in Gombe State, while also calling on the National Boundary Commission to determine the status of the Eba oil field currently in dispute between Ondo and Ogun states.
Recent attack by armed bandits on Garingaladima, Pindiga, Garinjaji and Lambo and other communities in Akko local government areas of Gombe State resulted in the killing of 6 innocent people, a stark reminder of the overwhelming threat to national security. Media opinions and publications have twisted historical facts by insinuating that Eba Island belongs to Ogun State.
Coming under personal explanation, Representative Awajin Ombek Abiante frowned at persistent neglect of House bills transmitted to the Senate.
The Sea Fisheries Act of 1974 provides only 50,000 naira as fine for illegal fishing. We have amended that bill, we have forwarded it to the Senate, and they are still sitting on that bill till now as we speak.
The House mandated its Committee on Rules and Business to work with the Senate to achieve concurrence on scores of legislations already passed in the House of Representatives. From the National Assembly, Mitari Ikpen, NTA News.
Let's step out of the National Assembly now, and in response to climate adaptation challenges facing the nation and align with the administration's renewed hope agenda, the federal government is demonstrating decisive commitment to protecting lives, livelihoods, and resilience. This was President Bola Tinubu's message to the 57 member countries of the Rabat process who are in Nigeria for a sideline event on climate-induced mobility. Ruth Aguele reports.
From land degradation, droughts, desertification, floods, and other related disasters, which poses threats to food security, thereby shaping climate-induced mobility, these, experts say, triggers most displacement. Nigeria, as the host country and chair of the Rabat process, is championing the dialogue with 57 member countries of the Euro-African Dialogue to address climate shocks, strengthen partnerships to mitigate risk, and reduce adverse effects on populations.
The EU has developed a global action on enhancing prevention, risk reduction, and response to disaster and climate-related displacement worldwide with a budget of 8 million euros.
When we restore our degraded lands, we are not just planting trees, we are planting the seeds of security.
In a message, President Bola Tinubu expressed confidence that Nigeria remains committed to advancing principled dialogue, evidence-based policy-making, and inclusive partnerships.
In response to climate adaptation challenges facing our nation, and in line with my administration's renewed hope agenda, the federal government has demonstrated decisive commitment to protecting lives, livelihoods, and resilience, including coordinated cash and material assistance in the northeast and other communities displaced by recent floods in other regions, reflecting our commitment to inclusive recovery.
But the National Commission for Refugees are beginning to come up with durable solutions, to provide durable solutions for these displaced individuals with the support of the federal government, particularly Mr. President, who has been showing concern.
For these key players, a coordinated approach is required, they say, in building climate resilience for sustainable outcomes, strengthen resilience to promote safe migration. In Abuja, Ruth Aguele, NTA News.
Another news, the federal government says promoting freedom of belief will be strengthened and sustained as a constitutional right of all citizens in Nigeria. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, in a message during a courtesy visit by members of an interfaith group, assured them of real public enlightenment and civic engagement to promoting inter-religious harmony. Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara reports.
These are representatives of the National Human Rights Commission, the Kuka Center, and the Nasrullah Fatih Society of Nigeria, NASFAT, who are in the forefront of promoting interfaith and inter-ethnic dialogue in Nigeria.
To protect minority rights and uphold the constitutional guarantee of freedom of religion, we believe that together we can build a Nigeria where diversity is celebrated and every citizen, regardless of faith, feels safe.
I will reaffirm the freedom of religion and belief by the federal government, which is a constitutionally guaranteed right in Nigeria. There is emphasis on protecting religious freedom, preventing discrimination, promoting peaceful coexistence among all faiths. Freedom of religion and belief is central to national unity, stability, and democratic governance.
The Ministry of Information and National Orientation is aligning forces through policies to promote political will in preserving Nigeria's multi-ethnic and religious diversity as a strength for national unity and development. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara, NTA News.
Let's pause briefly. That's more news. Many thanks for staying with us. The Nigerian Army is committed to upholding human rights, professionalism and ethical conduct in internal security operations across the Northwest region. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Waidi Shaibu, stated this during a sensitization workshop on human rights and professional conduct for troops of the 1 Brigade and Operation Fasanyama held in Gusau. Correspondent Haliru Mohammed reports.
The workshop aimed to enhance troops' understanding of rules of engagement, civil-military relations, and ethical conduct during operations. The event featured lectures on human rights compliance, operational discipline, and professionalism in conflict environments. The Chief of Army Staff, represented by Chief of Civil Military Relations Major General Musa Awal, commended troops for their efforts against terrorism and banditry, emphasizing the need for operations to align with national laws and international humanitarian principles.
Respect for human rights is not merely a legal obligation, but also a strategic imperative that enhances our credibility and legitimacy in the eyes of the citizenry.
This workshop provides a valuable platform to further deepen our understanding of applicable laws, ethical obligation, and professional conduct expected of every officer and soldier, in both peace and conflict situations.
The workshop covered key areas including international humanitarian law, professional conduct, and the prevention of arms and ammunition diversion. In Gusau, Halir Muhammad, NTA News.
And still talking security, Nigeria's internal security architecture is receiving renewed attention as the governor of Taraba State, Agbu Kefas, meets with the Inspector General of Police, IGP Kayode Egbejokum, at the force headquarters in Abuja over the evolving security situation in the state. The meeting focused on strengthening operational collaboration, boosting police deployment, and sustaining reforms to confront kidnapping and robbery and other community-level crimes across Taraba State. Security correspondent Francis Fong reports.
Determined to keep Taraba safe, Governor Abuja first arrives at the Nigeria Police Force headquarters with a clear message: partnership, professionalism, and proactive policing. At the meeting with the top brass of the force, pockets of community crime, kidnapping, and armed robbery across some corridors of the state was on the table for deliberation. The governor acknowledged that crime may not be completely erased, but insisted that Taraba is staying ahead of the threats through coordinated action and strong police presence.
And I was very happy when I was informed, when I was in your office, that you have dispatched sections of men to support the operation in Karen Lamindo when I declare Karen Lamindo as a state or an area of security concern.
In response to the escalated violence within the local government of security concern, we have also reviewed our strategy, including reinforcing our deployment to Taraba State. Recently, we have deployed additional tactical and intelligence assets to Taraba State. We have enhanced intelligence policing in the state.
In another development, the management of the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria paid a strategic visit to the leadership of the Nigeria Police Force, opening a new chapter in interagency collaboration focused on housing, financial inclusion, and improved welfare for officers and men of the force.
This collaboration is critical, as accurate records ensure that your officers and men can seamlessly access their housing benefits without delays or disputes.
The visit underscores a shared commitment, improving the living conditions of those who protect the nation. Francis from NTA News.
Similarly, in a renewed effort to strengthen the security architecture of Kebbi State, the first batch of 500 vigilantes have undergone an intensive training program aimed at supporting conventional security agencies in safeguarding lives and property across the state. Correspondent Abdul Jalil Muhammad Bawa reports.
The 500 trainees are first batch of 3,000 vigilantes to undergo the training drawn from the 21 local government areas of Kebbi State. The program is designed to equip the vigilantes with modern security skills that will enhance community-based intelligence and rapid response to security threats. Areas of training include intelligence gathering, weapon handling, community policing, and basic drills, all tailored towards professionalism, discipline, and effective collaboration with formal security agencies.
We got permission from the federal government that we can train vigilante to assist the security agencies in conducting their operations.
We assure you that your monthly payment will be made, just like any other civil servant in the state.
The training is being conducted by a combined team of professional instructors drawn from the Nigeria Police Force, the Department of State Services, and the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, to ensure the vigilantes are trained in line with acceptable security standards and best practices. At the end of the program, the trainees are expected to be deployed to their respective local government areas. In Birnin Kebbi, Abdul Jalil Muhammad Bawa, NTA News.
And still on security matters, the Nigerian Air Force has activated a civilian arm accident and investigation team to commence an immediate and comprehensive investigation into the reported incident of an alleged civilian casualty following air operations conducted on Sunday, 25th January 2026 in Kurigi Village, Kontokoro District, Mariga local government area of Niger State. The NAF acknowledges the gravity of the reported loss of lives and injuries and conveys its deep concern for all affected, while reaffirming that the protection of non-combatants remains central to its operational conduct. A statement by the Director of Public Relations and Information, Air Commodore Ehime Ejudame, indicates that guided by the principles of accountability, responsibility and transparency, the NAF assures Nigerians of its unwavering resolve to take responsibility where required, implement necessary improvements and safeguard innocent lives, while continuing to defend the nation with professionalism, restraint and respect for the trust placed on it by the Nigerian people. Now, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NTA, says its alternative development program is a critical strategy for addressing cannabis cultivation in communities where the illicit crop is grown, with the ultimate goal of eradicating it nationwide. As part of efforts to deepen community engagement, the Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of NTA, Brigadier General Buba Mawa, retired, alongside members of the management team, visited Ondo State, which is considered Nigeria's highest grower of cannabis. Abiola Ario has all the details.
Findings from a joint survey conducted by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, in collaboration with the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crimes and the European Union show that large-scale cannabis cultivation is concentrated mainly in the southwest geopolitical zone, with Ondo State consistently ranked as the highest producer. The Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of NDLEA, Brigadier General Mohammed Buba Marwa, retired, disclosed that drug use prevalence in Ondo State stands at 17%, representing about 400,000 users.
Offering an opportunity to now plan something legitimate and live in peace with their families. These alternative development definitely have to start from here, so that if we can reduce the cultivation here in Ondo, definitely overall the cultivation will be reduced across board.
The team later visited Iluabu, Eleyewo, and Ifon, the communities identified to be involved in the cultivation of cannabis, where they engaged the monarchs and members of the community on adopting and embracing the Alternative Development Initiative. High points of the visits were the symbolic burning of cannabis and planting of some cash crops on the farmlands. Earlier, our stakeholders meeting was held, focusing on sustainable commitments towards a permanent exit from illicit drug activities. In Akure, Abiola Rio, NTA News.
Let's look away from Akure now. ADMI Nutrition Limited is reinforcing its innovative brand by offering smart cooking mates designed to make meals effortlessly tastier. Now, Lynn Leneke reports that ADMI Nutrition Limited is also encouraging Nigerians to let go of stress and embrace an easier, more joyful way of living.
Ikotun Market, Lagos, in a moment of celebration, was transformed into a unique community activation brand thanks to a stress-free start with ADMI. This, the organizers say, is reinforcing its promise of helping Nigerian families cook smarter, save time, and begin the year with less stress and more joy. The event combined delicious food, fun, and a captivating visual experience, amplifying ADMI's promise of being the final touch that makes everyday cooking easier and stress-free.
From the very same family of Multipro, this is the first benefit of it, and the second benefit is we do not compromise on taste, quality over quantity. So I can say that this is for the safety and to make your food very, very delicious. So you can use ADMI seasonings as well as the noodle mates.
The event featured a raffle draw that gave consumers, distributors and guests the opportunity to win amazing gifts, including a grand prize of 1 million naira.
The latest millionaire now. I even greet myself, congratulations to me. I'm happy, I'm excited. If you use ADMI, you will see extra like veggies inside. You can use it for noodles, jollof rice, or also fried rice. Admi is very okay.
When someone introduced me to Admi, I say, what am I going to do with this? Until I have a taste of it. Oh my God, it's an amazing product. And I urge everybody that is watching to go for an admin. It gives you everything you need.
I'm really appreciate. God bless you.
The symbolic release of thousands of balloons into the sky, admin says, represents the release of stress. In Lagos, Lane Lenake, NTA News.
Just as ADMI makes meals better, the federal government is also working very hard to make the roads better, and it insists that any contractor who fails on timely and high-quality delivery of road projects will face sanctions. The Minister of Works, represented by the Works Minister for State, Mohammed Bello Gobronyo, gave the warning at the inspection of Sokoto-Gusau Zaria Road project. Kenneth Nanim reports.
The Sokoto-Gusau Zaria Road project, awarded in 2023, is facing delays, and the federal government is warning contractors to speed up work or face sanction. The Minister of State for Works, Bello Gobronyo, inspected the project and expressed dissatisfaction with the slow pace of work, particularly on the Mafara-Maro-Gusau section, which is only 16% completed. He threatened that the government will reassign sections of the project to other contractors if progress of work is not improved.
The completion of this project is in the dear heart of Mr. State. He doesn't want to see people suffering. A lot of vehicles having a lot of accidents on these roads. The earlier directives was that even if you are constructing another lane, you should be able to maintain the existing road so that people have the safer travel. But unfortunately, this is the worst section among the 379 kilometers.
Meanwhile, he commended work progress in some sections like Sokoto-Tureta-Mafara section, which is at 27% completion level. He explained the resolve by President Tinubu to deliver quality road infrastructure to Nigerians, emphasizing that the concrete pavement technology being adopted in road construction in parts of the country is cost-effective, and roads built in this regard will stand the test of time. The road project, built to be completed by 2028, is crucial for easing transportation challenges, boosting trade, and improving safety in the region. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
Elsewhere, the House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee on Power Sector Reforms has expressed doubt on the capacity of distribution companies and current state of power plants to propel the needed reform in the sector. Stating its stand in continuation of its oversight visits, the committee suggested a review of the power privatization policy for optimum result. National Assembly correspondent Muhammad Rabiu Ali reports.
This is Ogorede Power Plant Sapele in Delta State with an installed capacity of 450 megawatts with 4 turbines in place. As at now, only 1 turbine unit is working, providing 112 megawatts per hour due to shortage of gas supply, a situation the committee says is unbearable. A visit to Transcorp Power Plant at Ugeli, which was privatized in 2013, shows that it produces 740 megawatts with limited evacuation capacity and grid instability as a result of infrastructure deficits and vandalism of transmission lines.
There are mixed reactions. I say I'm not going to preempt our finding, but you see, I'm giving plus. Wherever we have seen plus, you know, at the Sapele NIPP, we are so happy. What limits them is what we are working to find out.
The grid collapse is a perennial issue, but you know, all the stakeholders, we're all working together around improvements, around compliance with the grid code and a number of other things.
The committee engages the Benin Electricity Distribution Company, where issues of shortchange to consumers, overbilling, and free meter installation were discussed.
Your agency, BEDC,
has a lot of issues with respect of procurement. What are the dates of purchase and dates of manufacturing, history of each transformers from the previous owners that we purchased?
While in Edo State, the committee visited Deputy Governor Dennis Idahosa, who was a former member of the House of Representatives. Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
And still on power arising from inadequate electricity supply from the national grid, Nigerians are celebrating investment in renewable energy to close the gap. Rural electrification agencies driving this intervention, engaging state governments and investors to invest in solar mini-grid. Joshua Ojito reports.
Nigeria has huge renewable energy resources, and the Rural Electrification Agency (REA) has secured adequate funding to harness it so as to upscale access to electricity. The state-by-state roundtable engagement provides platform for the agency to unveil the interventions for subnationals to access in order to improve access to electricity in unserved and underserved communities.
24 states have so far keyed into the initiative, with Benue State being the latest, as Rural Electrification Agency (REA) continue to woo subnationals to partner federal government to accelerate investment in renewable energy subsector. The target is to provide electricity access to more than 17 million Nigerians.
Even to assure both the investor, the farmers, and everybody back at the state that what had been quite epileptic in terms of electricity, it's no longer being the same story. The narrative is changed right in this hall.
We want to optimize the food basket of the country. We want to deepen the implementation of the Electrification Act of 2023 and the entire funding that we have of over 1.something billion that Mr. President has provided Rural Electrification Agency. We want to partner with the private sector to use that funding to deploy infrastructure in the Benue State. We had already started with 16 projects. Our target is to see about 100 mini-grid and interconnected mini-grid being deployed in Benue State.
It is expected that the Memorandum of Understanding signed by parties will translate to robust investment that will power rural economy. Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the federal government has raised 501 billion naira from the bond market to settle part of more than 4 trillion naira debt owed power generation companies in the country. The funds were raised through the issuance of 2 bond tranches, a 300 billion naira 7-year 17.50% Series 1 Tranche A bond and a 201.02 billion naira 7-year 17.50% Series 1 Tranche B bond. Nigerian Bulk Electricity Trading PLC (NBET) issued the bond. The issuance is guaranteed by the federal government under the Presidential Power Sector Debt Reduction Program. 14 generation companies signed the deal, describing it as a game changer that will address the liquidity crisis in the power sector. Now time for another break.
Good to know you here. It's that time we talk business. Now, Nigeria's push for a $1 trillion economy has taken a significant leap forward today. This is as the Minister of State for Finance, Dr. Darius Anite, met with British International Investment, that is, the UK's development finance arm. The goal is to turn Nigeria's high-risk reputation into a high-reward reality for global private capital. For Dr. Anite, it's no longer just about the money Nigeria has, but it's about the money Nigeria can attract to develop digital and creative economy by powering the next generation of tech hubs and film makers. And in agriculture, the focus is on moving from simple farming to high-value manufacturing, while in housing, it is about tackling the national deficit with long-term financing. Other areas of focus are manufacturing to ensure strengthening the local value chain to reduce imports, and lastly, it's tourism. Well, moving on to the markets, talking about midweek market, midweek trading across the continent's major hubs feels like a mixed bag of weather. Gloomy in Lagos, but bright and sunny in Johannesburg. This is as the NGX All Share Index slipped 0.33%, retreating to 165,164.38 basis points. Despite a busy floor where trading volume also jumped by 29%. The bears had the upper hand, wiping 351.75 billion of investors' portfolios, while Lagos saw red, Johannesburg was seeing green, and given the 1.49% surge in the GIC top 40, talking about the South African stocks, the Namibian market likely enjoyed a sympathy rally to end at 0.10%. That is it, and business tonight and midweek. Yeri, you can take it from here.
Well, thanks, Benny, for the update. And business is down in Onitsha market. The sprawling Onitsha main market, one of the busiest commercial hubs in West Africa, has been shut down for a period of 1 week on the orders of the Anambra State Governor. Steve Lonai Wonkolo, who has been feeling the pulse of the traders on this development, will now tell us more. Steve.
This is the sprawling Onitsha main market. The market has been closed down for a period of 1 week by the Anambra State Governor, Professor Chukwuma Charles Soludo. The closed, according to the governor, is as a result of repeated defiance to a government directive to end the weekly Monday sit at home. I was here earlier in the day to feel the pulse of the traders on this development, and this is what they have to say.
The persistent insecurity on Mondays that government cannot even stop. Our people decided not to go out on Monday.
He's supposed to understand how we feel and the reason why for all those things. For him to, to put this forcefully is against.
I thought this man could have called the market for dialogue. They will do it peacefully because it will bring the economic of the country down more and more.
We have had a meeting with all the affected markets. About 15 markets, street market is affected, and we've written a letter assuring our governor that we will do the needful, that the people have seen that he wants the good for us.
Meanwhile, Anambra State Governor Professor Chukwuma Soludo says the directive on 1 week closure of Onitsha main market is still in force. The governor was speaking during a press conference at the Lighthouse, Orca.
These places that become of significant economic interest for the state, for the survival of the state. If you want to transact business there, you cannot just do as you wish. Your activities become central to the survival of the state. And so you can't, if you agree to do business there, I will revoke all the ownership there and you come for a certification. During the Christmas, they opened on Sundays and Mondays and everywhere, every time. And now under normal days, on Mondays you are everywhere. Playing in the streets, that's the day now you go for sporting, that's the day you have neighborhood meetings and you say it is sit at home. You're not sitting at home. It's now calculated economic sabotage.
Still looking at the southeast from the commercial city of Aba, Kanayo Okoro joins us tonight. He says the traders and manufacturers are very ready to go into 2026, but there are a few hurdles they want government to help them scale. Kanayo.
Aba is rising once again as so lucrative as ever. The industrialists, traders, manufacturers are already busy striving to ensure that the year 2026 achieve its desired objective. I spoke to some of them earlier in the day and they expressed optimism and what they want government to do in order to improve on their businesses.
For this year, every business needs capital money. So we need government to help us so that we'll be producing all these things in a large quantity. So the products are okay, and the goods is very strong. We produce the goods the quality is okay and everything a normal standard. So that's why I'm looking upon the government to help us in the area of finance, so that we'll be producing it, so that the goods will be going far away. So that is what I need from them this year.
My expectation in this 2026 is that the government should help us bring out the right tariff, give us steady lights, also help us by giving us loan facility to help us, to enable us to empower other young youths who are willing to learn.
I believe that if they give me industrial machine or weaving machine, I think I can go further in this fashion industry.
If the government can help us with loans, we will be grateful. It will help us to get more working facilities. It will help us to employ workers. It will help us to get more apprentices.
That is it from here. We will continue to track their unique stories and bring it to you on News Extra. I am Kana Yokoro.
Many thanks, Kanayo, and that's our Southeast Files tonight. Let's turn attention toward the news now, as the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission has started plotting coordinates for disputed and newly drilled oil and gas wells across affected oil-producing states. Chairman of the Commission, Dr. Mohammed Shehu, says the move marks a major step towards resolving long-standing boundary and ownership concerns among the communities. Olayinka Ojo reports.
The initiative is anchored on the mandate to monitor accruals into and disbursement from the Federation account, including the equitable distribution of the 13% derivation fund to oil and gas producing states.
So this is a continuation of verification of those things. You know, whenever new oil fields started producing, after a while, they will want to know which state actually owns that, or which state should get that 13% derivatives. So it's in this line that we are doing this exercise, and we intend to do it fairly, justly, and equitably.
Chairman, Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission assured that proper verification and plotting of the oil well locations will help clearly establish ownership, resolve disputes, and ensure that oil-producing states receive their rightful share.
Plotting of the coordinates will actually take 5 days here. You know, but we have all the data. We have all the data. We have an equipment that we believe no one in Nigeria has it, not even Newprick. You know, we hired our drones in places where we cannot actually physically be there, and we have sent the drones. They have taken the coordinates. We are going to analyze in the presence of all those states that are present.
The exercise, being carried out through an interagency technical committee, began on Monday, January 26th and will end on Friday, January 30th, 2026. Olayinka Ojo, NTA News.
Let's look at the livestock industry now, as Nigeria's dairy industry is steadily coming of age, reshaping products to match growing consumer demand, unlocking new job opportunities and sustaining livelihoods along the value chain. This optimism was shared by the Minister of Livestock Development, Idi Mokhtar Meha, at the Dairy Value Chain Forum, where stakeholders converged to chart a more resilient and inclusive future for the sector. Yusuf Jika is our guide.
Nigeria's dairy industry is leaping into a new era of growth and innovation. At the Dairy Value Chain Forum and workshop-themed Partnership for Green and Productive Dairy in Nigeria, top players from Allah Foods and Confederation of Traditional Stock Breeders in Africa to the Danish government and key partners gathered in Abuja to chart a bold path forward. The goal, a dairy sector that is sustainable, competitive, and capable of transforming livelihoods across the country. The Minister of Livestock Development and the Danish ambassador to Nigeria emphasized that collaboration is no longer just an option. It is the engine driving progress. Through shared knowledge, innovative practices, and strategic partnerships, Nigeria's dairy sector is set to redefine productivity, unlock job opportunities, and strengthen the nation's food security.
Whatever we saw in Denmark can be repeated in this country. And this is what the state set out to do. And we have the resolve, we have the political will of the president to translate what we have seen there in this country, and I'm sure we can do it, and we're on that trajectory.
It's an excellent way of formalizing the partnership between governments, businesses, and all the interests here in Nigeria. And we are so happy that we're now moving into phase.
Key takeaways from the event include the adoption of strategic reform instruments, the strengthening of systems and institutions, strong alignment between Danish expertise and Nigerian needs, and a renewed focus on trust, competitiveness, and sustainability across the dairy value chain. In Abuja, Yusuf Jika, NTA News.
This is News Extra. We have more news on health, education, and sports after this break. Glad to have you back. No fewer than 2.8 million children are expected to be immunized as the Ogun State government officially flags off the 2026 measles rubella vaccination campaign, reaffirming commitments to child health and prevention of avoidable diseases. Wife of the governor, Mrs. Bamidele Abiodun, urged parents, caregivers, and community leaders to ensure that all eligible children are presented for vaccination. Lekon Agbonde reports.
A renewed effort to strengthen preventive health care in line with federal government's directive, Ogun State government has intensified the measles rubella vaccination campaign, targeting about 3 million children across the state. Wife of the Ogun State governor, Bamidele Abiodun, underscored the need for collective action against measles and rubella, describing them as highly contagious diseases with severe health complications.
This campaign set in motion a statewide drive expected to reach approximately 3 million children aged 9 months to 14 years in all the 20 local government areas of the state. Let us not allow fear or misinformation to deny our children their right to a healthy life.
Our aim is to get above 95% of these children immunized.
Stakeholders urged religious and community leaders, as well as parents and caregivers, to embrace vaccination, noting that the exercise is free. They added that health teams will cover all nooks and crannies of the state to ensure full coverage.
That report by Lekon Agbonde was voiced by Elizabeth Omori. Now, Nigeria's education sector is undergoing far-reaching reforms aimed at reducing financial burden on families, improving learning quality, and promoting fairness across school systems nationwide. Stakeholders in Anambra State have welcomed the development as a laudable initiative. The Anambra State Ministry of Education, alongside parents and guardians, described the reform as timely and people-centered. Chinyere Fesi Okoye has all the details.
The federal government of Nigeria, through the Ministry of Education, has continued to come up with policies that will help to improve the standard of education across the country. Top on the list recently is the authorization of the use of high-quality textbooks between 4 to 6 years in primary and secondary schools across Nigeria. Known as the 4-year authorization cycle, the policy is designed to reduce the financial burden on parents, promote stability in learning, and improve quality control in schools. The directive applies to public and private basic and secondary schools nationwide, making compliance mandatory for all institutions. In Anambra State, the Commissioner for Education, Professor Ngozi Chumode, says the state will put all needed machineries in motion to achieve the desired result.
With the federal government's stipulation, we'll move in to review textbooks, a kind of peer review, ensure that whatever we approve for the use of our children are of very high quality.
In Oka, a school proprietor and parents also support the policy.
Well, it's a laudable idea if it can work. We have started such policy way back. I can't even remember from the beginning of, from the inception. We have started, because we know that most times it's so difficult for the parents to continue to bond these expenses.
During my own days in primary school, we used to use there's a book we call Day by Day. I used Day by Day. And the one I was using then was used
my uncles and aunties.
Should be a minimum of 6 years, because to me this is a part of knowledge transfer and a part of sustaining the culture, whereby some of these things, when you get one for your children, you've gotten a copy that actually lead the person through primary school. And it's even transferable in such a way that the siblings can also use it.
I have 3 boys, and each of them, I buy textbooks for them. Simply because the one that the eldest use is not the one that the second and the third use.
School managers and proprietors are urging the federal government to ensure that publishers also do the needful. Enoka Chinyere Fesi Oko.
And still talking education, the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, clarifies that candidates currently enrolled in tertiary institutions are not barred from registering for the 2026 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination, UTME, or Direct Entry, DE, provided they disclose their matriculation status during registration. In a statement by its public communication advisor, Dr. Fabian Benjamin, the board says the clarification becomes necessary following what it describes as a misleading and unfortunate distortion of its directives contained in an advertisement on the 2026 UTME DE registration. JAMB stresses that while registration by already matriculated candidates is not an offense, failure to disclose such status constitutes a violation. Dr. Benjamin notes that once a candidate secures a new admission through UTME or DE, any previous admission automatically lapses, as Nigerian law does not permit holding 2 admissions simultaneously. The statement warns that JAMB system can detect prior matriculation. Candidates who fail to disclose their status risk losing both old and new admission opportunities, as the board urges candidates, parents and guardians to rely only on official guidelines to avoid misinformation.
All right, welcome to sports. Let's begin with volleyball, as Nigeria Customs Service men and women's volleyball teams are stepping up preparations in Abuja ahead of the inaugural Volleyball Super Cup scheduled for this February. The women's team, defending champions of the CGC Volleyball Premier League, have been training daily alongside Division 1 champions Vipers Volleyball Club as they set their sights on both national and continental success this year. On the men's side, Customs included a test match against Lifecamp Volleyball Club as part of their build-up to the Super Cup. They recorded a convincing straight sets victory before opting for a complimentary 4th set, which they also won. Their counter provided the technical crew an opportunity to fine-tune tactics and assess the squad ahead of what they describe as a busy and demanding season.
Nigerian Customs Service is always the best, because what we are getting from our guy, the boss, the CGC, he's all out for us. So we also have to do the best and always give him the best.
Just like we did for the previous year, we are also trying to see to what we can do to, of course, improve on our play and also to put the team together.
We are going to play other friendly matches, and this will be preparation for us to be able to see how far we'll be able to go in upcoming international competitions.
Let's talk football now, as 4 matches were decided Wednesday as part of match day 23 games of the Nigeria Premier Football League. In Lafia, Nasarawa United settled for a 1-0 draw with Enyimba Faba to move within 2 points of leaders Rivers United, who are on intercontinental duties with 2 games in hand. In Kano, Ahmed Musa saved the day for relegation-threatened Kano Pillars after scoring the only goal to beat Katsina United in the Northern Derby. In Jos, Temitope Vincent scored 2 vital goals to inspire Plateau United to a 2-1 victory over visitors Enugu Rangers, while Abia Warriors salvaged a 1-0 draw with Wiki Tourist as they battle for top 4 finish. Now, 18 matches are currently being decided as the league phase of the UEFA Champions League for this season climaxes. 6 teams are hoping to join the duo of already qualified Arsenal and Bayern Munich as, the automatic qualifiers with the games now in the second half. Liverpool at the moment lead Karabakh 5-0. Yes, they just scored 2 more goals. Barcelona leading Copenhagen 2-1. Monaco and Juventus are goalless at the moment. PSG and Newcastle 1-1. Dortmund goalless also with Inter Milan. Chelsea just equalized against Napoli to make it 2-2. Frankfurt are losing at home to Tottenham 1-0. Atletico also losing at home to Bodo Glimt. Arsenal leading Kairat 3-1. And of course Manchester City lead Victor Osimhen's Galatasaray 2-0. Benfica leading Real Madrid 2-1. It's goalless between Atalanta, while Bayern Munich just scored a goal against PSV. As it stands, Liverpool, Spurs, Manchester City, Real Madrid, PSG and Newcastle look to be in line to qualify automatically. We'll update you later. That's a bit on sports tonight. Let's return to Nyeri.
Many thanks, Abadi, for the update. Now, President Bola Tinubu condoles with the government and people of Lagos State over the passing of Otumba Adekunle Ojora, a renowned industrialist, business tycoon and community leader who passed on at the age of 93. President Tinubu highlights the late Ojora's life, marked by humility, and his role in advising governments, national and subnationals on best practices for safeguarding the future of nations. Describing his loss as significant loss to the country, the private and public sectors and the traditional institution. The president prays for the repose of his soul and comfort for his family. Similarly, President Tinubu commiserates with Wilfred Ndidi, captain of the Super Eagles, on the passing of his father, Sunday Ndidi. The Nigerian international footballer who plays for Turkish Super League club lost his father in a fatal road accident in Umunede near Agbo, Delta State on Tuesday. The president learned that Wilfred shared a strong bond with his father as a mentor and guide in his remarkable career as an exceptional footballer, and prays that God Almighty comforts the Ndidi family and grants eternal repose to the soul of the departed. And that's a package on News Extra tonight, the last for the month of January 2026. Many thanks for investing your time with us. Let's do this again next Wednesday. I'm Henry John. Have a good night.